there was really no way of us finding it elsewhere. Like
Mm.
from our homes, it's a taboo. At school, it's a taboo.
Mm-hmm.
Churches, they're not talking about it.
Yeah, they just say don't have sex till you get married.
Just don't have sex. Yeah, just get married, and
Then you can
you can
figure it
do
out.
that. I feel like the most dangerous part of it is the risk that you're putting the young people. Like if they're not educated, I mean, it's not just about not getting pregnant, but there are also risks like getting diseases. And
Yes.
if we're not fully informed and how we can protect ourselves, then it can potentially risk our health for sure.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Hello Dai Podcast. We are your hosts, Sheila
and Misha.
We are two childhood best friends who are now ambitious working moms trying to manage it all while conquering our dreams. Started this podcast to create a safe space for women to be their unapologetic selves.
Each episode contains powerful stories from both of us and other women sharing the real, raw, and honest stories and insights on adulthood, motherhood, self-improvement, being a woman in today's society, and everything in between.
If you're looking for digital BFFs, you're in the right place.
So without further ado, let's hear from today's podcast.
Today's episode covers some heavy topics that may be triggering or upsetting. In this episode, we mention about grooming and sexual assault. We will also be talking about our past traumas in relation to this subject matter. If you're not comfortable about hearing any relevance to the mentioned subjects, you may skip this episode. However, if you decide to continue, viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be chatting a little bit about sex education and why we think it is important for it to be included in the Philippine curriculum or the Philippines educational curriculum. Because in the US, that is quite practiced here, but in the Philippines, it is not. And today we're going to be sharing our stories as to why we think it's important for us to have sex education in the Philippines. So to start off this episode, and we're going to dive right in, is Sheila. She's going to chat a little bit about why she thinks it's important. So go.
Yes. I feel like we all can relate, especially when we are around our teenage years where we get curious. And that was definitely for me. I feel like it's very common for Filipino families, like specifically Filipino parents, to like not talk about sex at all. Like, it's just for you to figure it out. For me though, I always got curious, especially when my dad, he would watch action Filipino movies and there would be sex scenes and they would basically just ask us to cover and then we would
Yeah.
peek. There would even be news where they're talking about condoms. I remember like I asked my dad one time, like, what's that? It's like, is that like candy? And
Yeah,
he just
my same.
yeah, he just like he didn't answer at all. I really struggled because there was no one that was telling me about this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because when you reach a certain age, teenagers, right? That's the time when you get, you know, over
Quite
like
curious and a little
yeah,
bit horny.
yeah, yeah, hormones, right? I feel and curiosity, and there was just no one in my home that I can talk about it. And even my mom, she's actually working abroad, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that also contributed, yeah, for the ignorance. And like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have anyone to talk to because I can't talk to about it to my dad, so yeah. And I have a younger sister. There was no one like really looking out for me in that sense, and I was pretty much experimental, so I looked into YouTube. I remember I watched like, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like oversharing at this point, but like, I feel like we all did that. We all got curious at some point, and I remember I watched how to kiss tutorial on YouTube. I feel like it's
Same.
still
I'm
up
guilty.
there.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, I feel like that video is still up there, and I was just practicing. I don't know how I practiced
Did you
though.
practice with your hand or a teddy bear? Because I practice with my hand like this. Like this.
Probably like a teddy bear or something. I don't know.
Uh,
Yeah, so I never really like knew what it was about,
yeah.
and I did look at porn, I got curious and like, I mean, it's not really like I looked. Someone in my family opened
Mm-hmm.
porn and accidentally I opened it because we shared the same computer
How?
before. There was no phones. Okay.
Mhm.
So we just shared the same computer. So we would take turns on who's gonna use the computer. And
He had it up.
fortunately, the person did not exit, and I was just like, okay, like so. It was actually very traumatizing, though. I wasn't expecting to see that, and I actually thought that sex is just like what we see in the movie where they would kiss and they would lie down, and it's
We
gonna be like there were like a cut scene, and then they're like naked. And I mean, they're
have like the blankets all over them. Yeah.
blankets, yeah, and that's that, and in that video, I was like, this is a whole different thing. It actually, I was actually grossed out because that was the first time I saw genitalia, like
Mm-hmm.
how
How
they
do you feel about
actually,
it now?
oh, it's good. But yeah, at the time, I actually was grossed out. How can people
Mm-hmm.
do that?
Because we didn't
So
understand it, so it was
yeah, I
basically
didn't
like
understand it. So I
taboo.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, kept it to myself. And I feel like high school didn't help at all. In my first year in high school, I was pretty much surrounded by the wrong people. I mean, they're also kids, so I feel
Yeah.
like I'm not blaming them at all. I just feel like we were also curious.
Mm.
I had these friends where we got curious about condoms and we end up buying them. And we didn't, have sex or anything like that. Yeah. And for some reason, my mom found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually lied to her, like the reason why we bought that. It was actually just for fun or like,
Yeah,
curiosity. Like
yeah, of course.
we've never really touched condom at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was us
It was
three
just
girls.
teenage things, yeah.
Yeah, three girls in our uniforms buying condoms, and we were just like picking like who looks the oldest, so she can buy.
In
So
your
I remember,
uniform?
yeah,
Oh goodness.
yeah, and unfortunately, my mom found out, and I actually lied because I was scared, and
Mm-hmm.
I told her that it was the like higher levels in high school that I don't know influenced me, or like I was just asked to buy
Mm-hmm.
them. And yeah, so my mom, she went to the school, and basically everybody, it spread like wildfire. I was labeled as the condom girl. Yeah, I have so much compassion for my younger self because I didn't really know, and I was in trouble. Okay, I was sent to the guidance counselor, and I was bullied by the
The
school,
school.
basically calling me, stuff like that. And I just feel like the adults failed me. Actually, my mom just told my advisor and probably like, school staff. They might have
Yeah.
known. But for some reason, that news spread.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like, you know,
The betrayal for
adults are,
sure.
yeah, betrayal for sure, because like adults are supposed to be the ones,
Protecting
guiding you.
you.
And I just felt like I was scolded for buying this. And I didn't really fully understand what the problem was. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's not, I just feel like it's not supposed to be touched here. You're not supposed to look at it. You're not supposed to have that, and you don't really understand why.
Yeah.
Why can't, like, like, why can you just answer questions about, sex? What's the
They could
use?
always have just gone it done it a different way instead of like trying to scold you or basically spread the news about you having a condom and stuff like that. Provide you with resources that allows you to understand what a condom is and what it does, and kind of just educate
Mhm.
you rather than putting just letting you go by blindly trying to figure out why is it wrong, right? They
Yeah.
don't answer the why because they're not educating you. They're just like, okay, so that's bad.
Yeah,
That's all
that's
you need
bad.
to know.
That's
That's all you
yeah.
need to know.
Yeah.
You're
Just
scolded, you're
like,
grounded, or whatever.
yeah. Exactly. So I just took the downfall for that because I
Hmm.
didn't, mention my other classmate because I didn't want them to get in trouble. And I feel like throughout high school, I I feel like we're gonna go there. Me and Misha actually, we share the same. experience. I don't really know how we're gonna, get into that. But basically, when I transferred to a different school, we were together already, and we had these common friends, and they're adults. But it's not like they're our only friends. We're actually with this group of people, and of course there are also females and stuff like that, and we're all just mutual friends, and we
Mm-hmm.
often see each other from time to time, and we look up to them. We see them as like our big brothers at first, and then it
Mm.
escalated to like father figure. That's how much we trusted them. Basically, we would share to them about our traumas. And for me, though, I was taken advantage of when I was younger. And I'm not really afraid to talk about that, because that was a huge time in my life that really like damaged me. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I
It
you
molded
know,
you to who you are.
yeah. I take my power back in that situation, and that's not gonna, take me down right now.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time, I was very vulnerable to that person who I looked to as a father. And during that time, I didn't really have the best relationship with my father. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like every high school or like every teenager does. Like they don't really have like a
The best father figure.
yeah, the best, probably in parents general, like
Yeah.
your mom or dad. I feel like especially when you're a teenager. And so this person, I looked up to him. I shared everything, my struggles and stuff like that, and it really seemed like he cared for me. He would give me, advices, and I really felt safe talking to him. And that person was very religious and very he portrays himself, or like he shows that he is, that person that,
Mm-hmm.
you know it,
Trustworthy.
yeah, trustworthy. And he's not really sketchy at all. Okay, he surrounds himself with people that are, very religious. One day he invited me to this place. It's actually a public place, but it's not like a motel or anything. Okay, it's actually an internet cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a second floor, and it's private. There's cubicles and stuff. He then invited me. I really didn't know why he called me there, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just shocked the moment I sat down. So basically, what happened was I sat down beside him in the cubicle he was in. So basically, he was watching porn, and there was one specific video up during that time. And he basically started touching me around my thigh while he was watching and asking me to watch the video with him. It was just like from the movie, like, everything was just,
A blur.
you yeah, a blur basically. And I just became stiff basically. I didn't really know how to react. I was just shocked. And in that moment, everything that I thought, in my image of this person, it all,
Went out the window.
yeah, I actually was very heartbroken. I was so
Mm,
confused,
I
and I
bet.
felt betrayed. And he did not push himself to me. I feel like he was testing how I would
Mm-hmm.
react first. And he would,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry. I think, it's not what, like, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And you're just confused. And,
Mm-hmm.
I just left. I just bolted out there. Yeah. The
Tricycle.
next thing I know, I was already in the tricycle, and, I just felt so dirty. I just felt so disgusted with myself, even though it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like
Your
my
fault.
fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also did this when the first time that I was molested when I was younger. I actually protected that person because I did not want that person to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to live through that, experience alone. I didn't really talk to anyone about it because I was scared that they're gonna judge me. And at the time that we were already classmates in
Okay.
elementary.
You told me in high school.
Yeah. I was planning already on telling you, but I was scared that we're not gonna be friends anymore, or like
Just
I'm
like that sort of embarrassment, and you're worried about what people might think of you. And I
yeah.
totally get that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It is a very difficult thing to talk about. For me, I'm very being vulnerable right now. And there is the part of me that is a bit scared. But at the same time, I want to raise awareness about this because I feel like during that time, we didn't have that grown up that's going to, guide us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do we do this? Like, what are our options? And like, what is sex? First and foremost, like, what is sex? All they're saying is that you should not do it. That's all. Like, you should not do it. That's bad. It's
Yeah,
for,
no further explanation. Just don't do it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
So
you
helpful, so
know,
helpful.
yeah. What happened to me, I was looking for, different places to get answers.
Yeah.
And that grown up person that I trusted,
Mm-hmm.
that I thought that can, guide me, because like I feel like my parents failed me in guiding me about,
Yeah,
about sex. He took advantage of that,
for sure.
and yeah. How about you, Di? We did share the same thing, but I didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't know that.
Yeah, I think we chatted a
Yeah.
little bit about it. I mean, your trauma when you were younger. You did chat to me about it when we were in high school, and I think after the bigger trauma, which I would think, you know, with the people who we trusted, we started opening up to each other like in college after it already happened. Like we weren't really like holding
Yeah.
each other's hand as we were experiencing those. We had
Yeah.
to feel alone in that situation because we were scared of
Yeah.
I didn't know you were going through it, and you didn't know I was going through it.
Yeah. We
We
were
were just
exactly
clueless.
go
We
we
were
were exactly
probably going
experiencing
at
the
the same
same
time.
thing.
At the same
Yeah.
time.
At the same time, but we didn't know.
I know because we were
Yeah.
just like so scared. And so we had to like, put this like image of ourselves like we weren't going through anything, but we were. And it's sad that we weren't able to see that and we could have supported each other. Hopefully we were able to get each other. I mean, if we had known about what we were going through, we might have helped each other to get out of it. But at that
Yeah.
point in time, I felt like we thought that there was no way that we could escape the situation that we were in. And, I mean, it has changed us for the better. It has made us more aware and more cautious about our surroundings, but we cannot deny the fact that it could have been handled better.
Yeah.
We trusted these adults to guide us or hopefully point us to the right direction of who could provide those resources for us. And unfortunately, they didn't. She did tackle about most of what I potentially experienced since she did mention we have like a quite similar of an experience. So
Yeah.
back when I was in high school, someone took advantage of me who was also older, someone I did look up to as well.
Very old.
He
like
was
like age gap is
yeah, it's
like,
like 10 years, 10 years.
yeah,
So I was 16
criminal offense.
age, yes.
Yeah, jail time of kind of
I was
offense.
I was 16, he was 26 back then. This was about 10 years ago. Um
16,
I was
right?
16. Yes.
Yeah, I was 16 and he was 30 or something.
He was way
Yeah,
older.
I feel. Yeah, he was. Yeah, just gross.
Oh,
I
I
know.
know it's so cringy now thinking about it, but
No.
anywho, so yeah, I was 16, he was 26. I looked up to this person, kind of thought that he was like my older brother. My dad was overseas, and I never really created a relationship with him. So I never
Yeah.
really had that bond with him. Now, I did grow up in a Christian home where you're taught to not have sex till marriage. And, we weren't allowed to watch any bad thing,
Mhm.
pornography or we can't
Yeah.
even watch anything with sex scenes. And then one time my cousin actually lived with us. I didn't
Cousin girl.
a boy. I did not tell you this. My sister and I were chatting about it a few days ago. But so this cousin had CDs. Okay, we didn't use a computer. Mine was a CD.
very,
Very old
very,
school.
very old. I know, right?
So we had a CD,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a movie. So as a kid, I put in my CD player,
Yeah.
played, and watched TV. I was like, okay, they were animated actually. So I was like, oh, it's cartoons. And I was like watching and sitting there and watching it and kept watching it. And then it started escalating to something else. And I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And I just kept watching. And that was my first porn.
Oh, cartoons.
Cartoons. Because
Yeah.
I thought they were literally cartoons. And as a kid, cartoons excite me. Like,
Yeah.
oh yay, a new
Mine day
show.
was like mine day was like a full list of videos you can watch, and like, like
Just
when you
click a
go to
link.
the porn page and you get so, oh my god, like different shots of different positions, and that was my first introduction. So very, you had it way better, Dai.
But mine was on a CD player.
Yeah,
So it was very intentional. You had to buy that CD.
yeah.
Anywho, yeah, so he had a CD and I was just watching it because I thought it was cartoons. As a kid, I was super excited. Like, oh, it's a new show that I have to watch.
That's
But
so awkward to buy. They know,
I
like,
know.
yeah.
Just, yeah, I was by myself watching it and like staring at the TV and like waiting for something good
Was
to
he
happen.
also young, the cousin, same age
No, he
or
was
old?
probably like a teenager. He was in college, or yeah,
Oh, okay.
he was in college. I was probably like 6, 7, 8.
Very young.
Yeah,
Okay.
very young. And I mean, I didn't really think anything of it. It haunted me in my dreams. Like I would remember it in my dreams for a few years, but I didn't really know what it was. Now, I did not ask my parents about it, because I didn't know what it was. I was like very young. And then going through high school, you watch like High School Musical,
Yeah.
and there was like kissing, a little bit of kissing. It wasn't even much.
Mm, yeah.
There's like, mwah. And then, of course, as a teenager, you would want, it's like, I want my first kiss to be with my first boyfriend, whatever. And I was, I was dating someone then, and I practiced with my hand. And like you did before, I watched a YouTube video of how to kiss, and I was like, trying to kiss my hand, trying to make sure
Yeah.
it's like upper lip and lower lip. And I tried making out with my hand, and eventually made out with my first boyfriend at that time.
I thought you
Yeah,
made out with your hand.
I did. I practiced with my
Oh,
hand.
okay.
My
Like
hand was
you
my
went all
first
in.
kiss. My hand was my first kiss.
Okay.
So he was, then after that, we broke up. He broke up, and then I was at a vulnerable space, and then I basically was talking to this older person, the person that I thought I could trust, this person that I
Mm.
thought was an adult and would understand because he has more experiences in life, like he's wiser.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him. I told him, it's like, yeah, I made out with this guy, and then I think he was trying to go through the next level, but we didn't go there. And I was just basically very open.
Yeah. Very similar to mine though. Like, I feel like the time when something shifted, like on how he treated me, was the time when I opened up to
Yeah,
him, like
about
the
your
sexual,
vulnerabilities. Hmm.
yeah, sexual part. I mean, before, I of course I didn't talk to him about it at first. Like that's like,
That's so
we
weird.
don't do that. But it's like, gradually they build our trust to
Yep.
them.
Hmm.
And over time we share and share, and like that was, I feel like, the time when he kind of started, yeah, I feel like after a few days of me telling him about what happened to me,
Hmm. That
yeah.
turned him on.
Oh God,
Yeah.
yeah. Just thinking about that, because when I opened up to him during that time, I felt like I was heard,
Yes.
like for a long
Validated.
time.
Hmm.
Yeah, validated, and that I'm not judged. But to
Hmm.
him, that was a different thing already, which just like grosses me out. Like thinking about it now, like
Yeah. No, I get
yeah.
that. Yeah, I was being vulnerable to this guy whom I thought I trusted. And then he took advantage of that. And it's quite sad because I defended him with everything I got. My mom found out about our thing that was going on.
She did?
Yeah, she did. She was going through my diary because, I write diaries. Yeah, but for me, I mean, that was the only escape that I
Did you not
had.
have like a initial dialect, not his name? Like you use something else?
I think I did a different name, but then she also looked through my phone. Maybe she found out that, oh, she's just trying to connect the dots, right? I even put his name as a different person and stuff like that, trying to be sneaky.
Mm.
But my mom found out. She was furious because this person, mind you, this person comes to our house. He eats, like, my mom invites him to like have
Oh
dinner
no.
with us, and then even when we're having dinner, he's all being all nasty under the table.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was intense. He used his leg, to reach
Ew.
under the table and try to rub my leg. Is the eye roll for me. But yeah, so that kind of happened. It actually lasted for 3 years.
Yours was longer for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Mm.
stuck around, okay? Because this gentleman, I lost my virginity to this guy, and then I felt, that attachment towards him because he did take my virginity. I felt like he was the one for me.
Yeah.
No. Like he was the one for me. I feel grossed out about it. But I thought that he was the one for me, and I defended him when my mom found out. She wanted to put him in jail. I told my mom, no, don't put him in jail. If you put him in jail, you have to put me in jail. I was so dramatic about it.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And I fought for him. But the condition my mom had, he was not from our city. He lived actually, probably like an hour away from our city, but he just likes hanging out. He lived in our he was not originally from there. So my mom basically kicked him out of the city. Told him, was like, "Hey, you're never ever going to be close to my daughter. You're going to leave and never come back. If you do, I'm going to put you in jail." That was the condition my mom made.
So she confronted him.
Yes. She did. She did. But the thing is, growing up in a Christian home, I wish I was able to talk to her sooner. But my mom was quite strict, so I didn't really felt that,
safe to.
Yeah, I didn't feel safe enough to, or comfortable enough to tell her what was going on in my life. Yeah. And I felt like, now that I'm a mother, I felt like she probably felt that she failed because she could have prevented it sooner. But like you were talking about earlier, is like we don't even have those resources where we know about these things, right? We had to figure it out on our own, and we went to the wrong people, and those wrong people took advantage of our naiveness or just us just being curious, took advantage of that, played as their cards, and just played us right into them.
There was really no way of us finding it elsewhere, like from our homes, it's a taboo. At school, it's a taboo. Churches are not talking about it.
Yeah, they just say don't have sex till you get married.
Just don't have sex. Yeah, just get married, and
then you can figure it out.
I feel like the most dangerous part of it is the risk that you're putting the young people. Like, if they're not educated, I mean, it's not just about not getting pregnant, but there are also risks like getting diseases. And if we're not fully informed in how we can protect ourselves, then it can potentially risk our health for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned earlier, like we just didn't have any knowledge. Like to this day, I don't even know much about, the diseases that come with sexual intercourse or even just having sexual contact with someone.
I know.
I don't know much about it. It's because it was never really talked about in the Philippines.
Yeah. I don't even know. I just know that like about the birth control when I was already like in, not long time ago, I didn't really do my research, and when I did my research, there was so much information, like so many options, and that I just felt like I was robbed of the information, like, options to protect myself.
Yeah, we could have done it sooner.
Yeah. I thank God that I did not catch any, diseases, and like that must be so horrible, especially for people that do get diseases and they can't even talk to people about it, and they're frowned upon, and like they're like an outcast. I heard from the society because people are scared if you have AIDS. Yeah.
Which is sad because prevention is cure. That's what they always say, right? That's the prevention is cure. Now, how can we prevent something without having the knowledge of it?
Yeah.
That's a big thing because like in the Philippines, if we were taught about the risks that you take when you do have sexual intercourse, if you don't do it the right way or with precaution, then we could have prevented a lot of things. Let's say if those people who actually do have the diseases had knowledge about it, maybe, there would be a lesser number of people, especially in the Philippines. We don't talk about it. To this day, I like I mentioned earlier, is like I don't know much about these diseases anyway. I'm still learning as I go, and this should have been taught sooner.
I don't even know the gravity of like how dangerous these diseases are.
Okay, so we chatted a little bit about, how we think it is important and our experiences, why we think it is important to have sex education or having a parent where you can be comfortable enough to talk to them about boundaries and also just being aware of your surroundings. And also, if ever you're ever curious about something, hopefully your parent or our kids will find us parents as the primary resource for things like this. They're just not gonna just hop on Google, and if they do and they're like, oh, mom or dad,
Yeah.
what is this? Hopefully we just don't say like, just don't read it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're gonna be those people in our generation who stand up for our kids and will be able to provide the information that they need.
It's also important for us to instill at an early age about how they can protect themselves and
Yes.
set boundaries, because eventually they're going to go out there and you can only do so much as a parent. You can't be with them all the time, because for me, definitely I lack boundaries because I wasn't taught
Yeah, for sure.
how
I
to
get
set
that.
boundaries, like what's appropriate and inappropriate. But one thing that happened to me, I wasn't really sure if it was wrong because I see it on television. But during the time, there was like a gut, like something like a voice in me that it's wrong. And during that time, I just did my best to pull away because I have that feeling that this is wrong. And I feel like the only thing that protected me was like that voice.
But I hope that, you were comfortable enough to tell your parents, like, hey, I'm not comfortable when this person is around.
Yeah.
You know, if you were comfortable enough with your dad, you could have said that. But instead, you just did your own, as a kid, your own due diligence to be away from that person.
Protect yourself. Yeah.
And it's you're too young to try to protect yourself. You expect your parents to protect you.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad. And hopefully we're gonna be those people for our kids, in the future.
Yeah.
That's kind of the goal.
Yeah, that's true. For sure, I am very, very protective of my kids right now because of that. And I really feel bad for that. Like with my younger self, I wish I can hug myself. And I can't even imagine like how I did that, how I was able to go through that all alone, not having anyone to talk to. Do you think that there's going to be a change in the sex education system, or like, in schools
I mean,
in the Philippines?
probably not in the Philippines, but I think parents are definitely taking more of the initiative of being that person, being the
That's true.
primary resource for their kids. And like, I know that right now it's big where parents are very hyper aware that, I need to teach my kids how to know their boundaries. And if they're uncomfortable, tell me and I will protect you. If you tell me that you're uncomfortable when Uncle Jay is here, I will never let you see Uncle Jay anymore, whether your kid is male or female. It doesn't matter. Sure, it might be a higher percentage for younger girls, but also like young boys that don't speak their mind because they're taught to be tough. I would be so proud of myself if my child comes to me and tells me how they feel and if they feel unsafe. Because at least I know for a fact that I did something right, that my kid is comfortable enough coming to me and telling me how they're not happy or they're not comfortable, they feel unsafe when so and so is around. And that for me is very important. And hopefully we can instill that in our kids where they know when to come to us, when to ask for help, and when to set boundaries when you're not around. So I think that is quite important. And I think parents in our generation are taking that initiative because I'm sure we're not the only ones experiencing this or have experienced this. And we're definitely taking a better step in parenting. And I don't blame our parents really, because probably their parents before them too did not teach them that. And I'm sure they probably have struggles on their own and they just don't know how to navigate that. And right now we have all this resource and all this experience that hopefully we could pass along to the next generation. And
that's true. I mean, like the school can only do so much. It really always starts from home.
Yes.
And
that's a big thing.
I mean, that's what it's really supposed to be. Like, the parents should really be the one talking about it because they can only, they're the ones who can assess if their child is ready for this. I don't really blame the school because like it's a whole debate though if we're gonna go into that, like if it should be allowed or not.
And then sometimes kids don't take it very seriously when it's at school because other people are making fun of it, and they don't really take it seriously. But maybe if a parent takes initiative and sits them down, have a serious conversation, a one-on-one conversation, because you could be the kid in sex education class who is actually serious about sex education, but your other classmates are just laughing and making fun of it like it's a joke. Talking about genitalia and like how to protect yourself, people just go through the other ear. But if you
everybody loves the reproductive system
discussions, yeah, I know. It's like people make fun of it, draw penis on the board and stuff like that. But sometimes it also is not just the school. I think, like you said, I totally agree with you on that. Like, it starts at home. Everything starts at home. The moment, the behavior of your child also starts at home. You can correct that at home. You are the parent of the child. And as the parent, you should feel responsible of like caring for your child, making sure that your child, learns things. And unfortunately, they also learn things outside the home. And hopefully you are able to like notice those things, notice those changes, and then help them. I think as parents, we have to be very, very observant.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Very, very observant, because like there are many things that children, they might think that it's okay, or like they don't think it's a big deal, but or they don't really think that it's affecting them in some way, and but their actions show. So yeah, really being present for your kids. I think
it's a lot. Parenting is hard. Okay, no one said it was easy. Gosh. We're here trying to deal with our traumas and then trying to protect our kids from those traumas.
Yeah. But I think we're all learning from our traumas. I feel like collectively as millennials and Gen Z, we've taken out so much trauma. And also we witness trauma, because I feel like the older generation, like the boomers, most likely the Gen X, they've taken some of the values from their parents, right? And it's a bit hard for them to break from that, the mindset and the values that they learned from their parents. And us, the children, millennials and Gen Z, we kind of notice the pattern, and
we're hoping to break the cycle.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
So that's the key word: break the cycle. I feel like I always see that break the cycle. Yeah, I feel like we've all been traumatized, and like
in some way. It might not be sexual, it might be mentally, it might be a lot of different things, and we're trying our best, and hopefully we succeed in raising good humans, raising kind humans. You're raising two beautiful girls, I'm raising a son, so those are going to be different challenges, and how we're going to navigate that in today's generation and today's society, where a lot of things is going crazy around the world, and how trying to figure out how to shield them from that, and how to provide
not
proper
just
information.
Shield though. Yeah, not just shield, but also give them
the right information,
like trust. Trust that they're gonna make the best decision, hopefully based on like what you taught them. Hopefully equip them, so they can
equip them for the world.
Can't really shield them from everything. I feel like probably our parents, they tried to shield us from that information, and like
it was too much shielding. We can only we can try our best, but then also we want the best for our kids. We don't want to see them hurt. We don't want them to see them go through so much trauma or pain. But at the same time, we have to present them. All we can do is prepare them. We can always prepare them, prep them for what the world is or what's out there.
Yeah, it sucks.
It does. Because you're gonna see your little baby go out.
Oh my god, my daughter Clemmy, she always tells me, "Mommy, I want to grow up. I want to be like you." She always says that, and my sister and I, we will always say, "No, you don't want that. Like, it's fun to be a child. Okay, have fun. Like, just be a kid." I always tell, just be a kid. Just play and
And that's hard though, because like when I was a kid too, I was like, I want to be like my mom. I want to start working. No, you don't want to start working. You don't want to start.
No. Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah,
no. But they don't know that yet, and
that's true.
But it's fun to see them look up to you and they want to be you. I think that's very flattering. I'm glad that Clemmy sees you as someone that she wants to grow up to be. That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
She always say like, I want to be like you. Like,
Aw.
yeah. And she always compliments me. You're so pretty, mommy. And like, yeah.
Aw, she's so sweet. I want to give her
Yeah.
hugs. I want to give her hugs. I met her when she was like really, really, really young. She doesn't remember
Yeah.
me.
She's still a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all for today's podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We've talked about traumas. We talked about our own individual traumas, and if you do also have traumas that you would want to share, and hopefully if you need help navigating through that, or even just talking about it, feel free to reach out to one of us. And also, if you don't agree with sex education, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
We're just talking about our experiences and why we think it's important for parents or educators or even counselors
Yeah.
to be, that resource for
Yeah, for sure.
for younger
Yeah.
generations.
I feel like a sex education in school, diet, there's always going to be pros and cons. It really all depends on like from home. Like,
Yeah.
how do you help your kids, deal with
Prepare
that
for that.
information?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
sex education is a lot. But
yeah.
yeah, I think that's all. So we hope
Yeah.
to see you guys on the next episode. So
See
let us know your
ya.
thoughts. All right.
Bye.
Bye.